Welcome to the Growth Lab, where business ambition meets motherhood. I'm Luba, a mom of three, a self-made millionaire, speech-language pathologist, and founder of 2 clinics in sensory play gyms and a mobile therapy bus unit. Join me each week as we dive into what it takes to grow successful business, balance family, and create real impact. I'll share my hard-won insights and bring on inspiring entrepreneurs with stories you won't want to miss. Let's turn dreams into action, build with purpose, and thrive on our own terms. Welcome to the Growth Lab. Let's build, scale, and thrive together. Let's get this party started. This episode is sponsored by Kidology Inc., a nationally recognized pediatric therapy provider. Kidology Inc. delivers comprehensive speech, occupational, physical, and behavior therapy services in a multidisciplinary, multilingual setting. With multiple clinic locations, a mobile therapy bus, sensory play gyms, Kidology ensures access to high-quality, personalized care for children of all abilities. Recognized by the Inc. 5000 and the Philadelphia Inquirer as top workplace and industry leader, Kidology Inc. remains committed to innovation, inclusion, and measurable outcomes. To learn more, visit kidologyinc.com or follow Instagram at Kidology Inc. We're calling today's episode, Why Smart Kids Still Struggle to Speak Clearly. If your child is smart, understands everything, follows directions, but still struggles to speak clearly, this episode is for you. And I want to say this right away. Your child isn't lazy or careless. This really has nothing to do with intelligence, most of the time. Most of the kids I see who struggle with speech clarity, they're brilliant. Welcome back to the Growth Lab. I'm Luba, your favorite pediatric speech-language pathologist, myofunction therapist, and mama who loves child development. I've evaluated and treated thousands of children, and this is one of the most understood areas of speech development. Because when kids can't speak clearly, the assumption is that they're not trying or that something's wrong. So let's start with something that most parents aren't told. Articulation is about where the sound is made. For example, if a child has a lisp, you hear how it's made? A lisp. Their tongue is between their teeth. Or if they have a distorted R and they're saying zebwa, or it's unclear their distinction of the S sound, the sh and the th. They're misplacing their tongue or putting it in the wrong position. The child knows the word, the brain knows the sound, but the body and brain aren't coordinating it. This brings me to motor planning. This is about how the brain is sending the message to the muscles. This could mean inconsistent errors, effortful speech. A child's trying so hard, but something's just not clicking. It doesn't sound right. And a lot of frustration, because this is not a motivation issue. It's a motor pathway issue. Now here is where things are going to get very interesting and where many kids are missed and where myofunction comes in. So the tongue is generally supposed to rest in the upper area of the mouth, the upper mandibular area. So if you open your mouth and you just let's loosen our tongue out, and then you can position your tongue back in so it's sitting low, and then the correct resting space is up. So just close your mouth and try to see if your tongue is sitting up in the upper mandible. When it's like that, I have to be quiet. So sorry for my silence, but I hope you got it. If your child's tongue is resting low or forward, this is a wrong position. That could mean the child has a tongue tie and they physically cannot put their tongue up in the correct position to fully get a full lip seal when the mouth is completely shut. They're a mouth breather. They could have inflamed tonsils or adenoids or an extremely stuffy nose from allergies or a deviated septum perhaps. All things that could cause mouth breathing and an open mouth posture, a weak lip seal. So if they have poor strength around their mouth, around their lips,
you may see the child drooling, and it may be hard for them to close their mouth fully. Like a full lip seal is when the mouth is completely shut. I don't know if you're watching this on YouTube or you can see a video, but I am closing my mouth fully and I'm like pretending to zipper it up. And that is a full lip seal. There should be no small hole for air or little tiny gap. There should be a proper position. If you have no deformation in your oral function, then your mouth can fully seal and you should be breathing with your nose. And what's happening is the airway and tongue posture, which is a myofunction disorder, children have a lot of issues with this and parents just don't know what to do. They come here and they say, oh, this is generational. Like we all breathe this way. But that doesn't mean it's right. And in order for your child's brain to function at the best capacity and the blood flow to be good and the oxygen to be at the levels that it should be breathing fully with your nose, filling up your lungs with nitric oxide, and that will give you a large fill of the proper air. You're not going to be running on a treadmill or playing in a sports game and breathing with your mouth. It's the worst thing that you could do. So it's really important that children have the proper lip seal and proper positioning of their mouth. And then when a child, if they're struggling with these things, tongue resting low, mouth breathing, open mouth posture, weak lip seal, then you're now trying to do speech on top of that, on top of the poor posture and the poor breathing. And how is that possible? It's not. You're going to have a kid who's talking like they're out of breath because they didn't take enough air, or somebody who's talking a lot and not taking in enough air in between their words or sentences. So these things have to be looked at and taught in the proper format. If you recognize any of this with your child, it could also be dangerous. If they have a very wide set tongue and they're taking up too much space, then you're going to want to make sure that you get that looked at so that we can stretch out the mouth or the tongue to elongate and help the child have more space. If God forbid they had an allergy and they didn't have room to breathe, what would happen? Also, it's important to remember that if a child is missing teeth, that could be causing the air when they're speaking to sound distorted, and then they don't say the sounds and words correctly, or perhaps their tongue is siding to the left or specifically to the right. That type of tongue motor concern, that tongue is a muscle. So if it's going the wrong way and you can't lift it to make the proper sound, you're going to get sound distortions and people are going to start thinking you sound funny when you're talking. Also, if a child has constant open mouth posture, they could experience teeth decay. Also, if they're not taking care of their teeth. So we do see that sometimes as well, browning or darkened front teeth. Also, something I've noticed in some of the myofunction evals that I'm seeing is I do a full oral evaluation and I shine my light into the depths of the mouth. So I'm looking at the uvula, and sometimes a person's or a child's uvula is swinging to one direction or the other, and that could mean nerve damage for the child. They may want to see a myofascial doctor as well. It could mean that they're tense in some area of their body on the left or the right that's then causing the swing. Is it scary? I wouldn't say it's scary, but it's definitely something to look at, because if you're constantly walking and the left part of your body is hurting you, and then we see that means there's some nerve damage there. It could cause a vocal distortion. It could cause general pain through the body. And the last thing we want is for that buildup of muscular tension and tissue tension to cause something worse further. So you do want to regulate those things early on, especially if it's a 6-year-old coming and I'm seeing this. I tell the parents immediately, take them for a massage, maybe to a chiropractor to be adjusted, because we want them to be in a relaxed state. They're little. There's no reason to be in some sort of stressed state. Your uvula positioning should be dangling straight from the middle of the soft palate and hovering above the base of the tongue. That is proper. A deviated uvula is one that leans to one side or the other, and this often occurs if certain cranial nerves are weakened. Sometimes injury results in a deviated uvula as well. So if a child's been in an accident or a sports injury that's caused some sort of damage in the cranial nerves, you could see that as well, aside from just the myofascial stress. Let's just go back to the airway and tongue posture a little bit. So if your tongue doesn't know where to rest, it's not going to know where to move for sounds. So the connection here for proper airway and tongue posture is having a clear airway, oral strength, and that causes the clarity. We can't expect precision when the foundation isn't stable. Just like in speech sounds, you can't expect a child to start speaking in sentences and then reading if they don't have sounds. It's foundation that starts from the ground up, just like when you build a house. If you don't have a strong foundation, your house could collapse. I also want to talk about the they'll grow out of it myth. This is a phrase parents are hearing all the time. They'll grow out of it. They'll grow out of it. If you are not working on something and it's a repetitive pattern, how can someone grow out of it? Yes, as oral functions develop and children's passages are enhanced, they're growing, they're larger, it's possible that the sound change will come. But if you're not putting attention on somebody who's calling a zebra a zebra, they're always going to call it a zebra. How are they going to know to fix it? So telling people to wait is just silly. Yes, it's possible that somebody will grow out of it. However, it doesn't hurt to start early and get the child early intervention services and get them the right care that they need, because that's what we're here for. As early intervention providers and therapists, we're here to help you so that you don't have to worry about it later on. Kids, generally, they don't grow out of habits. They can learn from support. They can grow from learning the new method. They can learn from seeing a correction. But to just say they'll grow out of it, I don't know. Habits need to be reinforced. And compensations that they're doing become patterns. And patterns are hard to break if you don't work on them. That can eventually cause a social and academic impact on the child. So unfortunately, there is no truth to they'll grow out of it. So if this is about your child and you've heard something in this podcast today that sparked you and you're like, oh no, like that's what's happening to us, your child isn't choosing to speak this way or to dysfunction. Their body just needs support. And when their body gets support, the clarity will follow. And this is why a whole child approach matters. Any child that comes here to Kidology gets a global evaluation, I like to call it, so that we can see if something that's causing a delay is coming from something else. So are they not speaking because they have poor core strength as a child, they're lacking oxygen? Are they having trouble feeding and swallowing because they don't know how to chew properly, their tongue isn't in the right position? Are they delayed because their executive functioning isn't working and something's not synapsing in their brain? There is a reason that everything happens, and it's really important that wherever you go for your evaluation, they're looking at things globally and not just telling you to hang out and wait, let the child grow out of it. Everything we do in therapy is data-driven. One thing is connected to the next. It's like a domino effect. Think of it that way. So it's super important to look at everything. But if you're listening to this and you're thinking, this sounds like my child, I've created a bunch of tools for you. So if you want to head to my website, lubapatlick.com, you can get Articulation versus Motor Planning Checklist, an oral posture and airway science guide, and what to watch and when to act. These are free, simple, and they're designed to give you clarity, not overwhelm you. There's a slew of other resources, so make sure you sign up on the website so that you don't miss anything I put out. So please remember this. Smart kids struggle with speech clarity all the time. They could struggle with a lot of things. They're kids, they're growing, they're developing. It's not because they aren't capable, but it's because their bodies need support. I'm Luba, and I'm here to guide families through this with clarity, confidence, and calm. Thanks for tuning in today. Please follow the Growth Lab podcast and Kidology Queen so that you can catch more fun episodes and topics that are relevant to you and your child's development. See you next time.
This episode is sponsored by Kidology Inc., a nationally recognized pediatric therapy provider. Kidology Inc. delivers comprehensive speech, occupational, physical, and behavior therapy services in a multidisciplinary, multilingual setting. With multiple clinic locations, a mobile therapy bus, sensory play gyms, Kidology ensures access to high-quality, personalized care for children of all abilities. Recognized by the Inc. 5000 and the Philadelphia Inquirer's top workplace and industry leader, Kidology Inc. remains committed to innovation, inclusion, and measurable outcomes. To learn more, visit kidologyinc.com or follow Instagram at Kidology Inc.